I love a homestead meal where the bulk of it comes almost entirely from my homestead. This recipe that I'm going to be sharing today is one of those that's like that. It's an asparagus frittata. And it has the benefit of being the first homestead harvest recipe of this year. Everyone knows asparagus are the first exciting green things to pop up in the spring. We add the most exciting purple things to that as well. Our ladies are laying plenty of fresh eggs again after their winter break, so fresh spring eggs feel like another seasonal delicacy as well. And finally, I found this random spring onion growing in my garden. It's either a volunteer or something that got forgot from last year, so I went ahead and grabbed that to add to this recipe. I love making farm fresh frittatas because they're good to use up whatever is growing in the garden at this time. So here in the early spring, it's asparagus, but my children really like kale and other greens in the frittata as well. And it can change and morph all through the summer as different things become ripe in your garden. Today I began by slicing up my green onion into small rounds to add real flavor to this frittata. Then I chopped up the asparagus into bite-sized pieces. I base the length of these on how thick the asparagus is. Basically, I'm going for something that my kids will fit in their mouth without complaining too much. I added some lard to the pan. And then tossed in my vegetables. I'm gonna let these saute for a good long while to get nice and soft. Frittata is one of those recipes where you can use a lot of variations and you can make the proportions bigger or smaller based on what you need for your family. Today I used almost a dozen eggs, a heaping teaspoonful of kosher salt. I whisked up the eggs with about a quarter cup of milk. And continued waiting for my asparagus and onions to get nice and soft. Now at this point, you pour the eggs in like scrambled eggs, and you let the eggs sit on the hot pan and start to form curds. Then you start to stir it just a little bit. Break up the curds that are forming, and then leave the egg mixture to sit for a while again. I repeated this process over and over until it got to the point where there was lots of curds and the vegetables were soft and there's just a small amount of liquid left. And then I go ahead and top the whole frittata with cheese, Parmesan cheese, and place it under the broiler to finish cooking all the way through. This is definitely something to keep an eye on and not walk away and leave it too long, or you might end up with flambéed cheese on top. But basically, when the whole thing starts to puff up and the cheese is getting a little bit brown and toasty, that's when it's done. I sprinkled with some more green onions for garnish, and we enjoyed this for dinner. It comes out of the pan best if you let it sit for about 5 minutes. It kind of steams the bottom of the frittata, and then you can scrape it out of the cast iron really easy at that point. We just cut this up into wedges and pass them around. Please subscribe if you want more ideas for how to cook straight from your garden and feed your family this year.